Hello. It was a Tuesday night, and I was sitting in my home office with a stack of quarterly reports spread across my desk. Numbers usually help me zone out, but that evening I barely made it halfway through a spreadsheet before my wife, Chelsea, stepped into the doorway. She had that familiar expression on her face, the same look she wore the day she brought home a handbag we could not afford, or the time she booked our vacation dates without telling me first. "We need to talk," she said, leaning against the door frame. I saved my work and turned my chair to face her. "All right, what is going on?" "I am planning a girls' weekend next month with Lauren, Harper, and Janice," she said casually. That part sounded normal. She had gone on trips with them before. "Okay," I said. "Where are you all thinking of going?" "Las Vegas," she replied. 3 days, 2 nights. "Sounds fun," I said. "You have not had a getaway in a while." Then she dropped the real reason she came in. "Well, it is not just the girls this time. Some friends are coming along." I raised an eyebrow. "Friends?" "Yeah," she said lightly. "Ryan, Adam, and Evan are joining us. They are friends of Lauren's, and Harper met them through her yoga class. We have all been hanging out together as a group lately." A heavy, sinking feeling settled in my gut. "So this is not a girls' trip," I said slowly. "It still kind of is," she insisted. "We are doing our usual stuff. Shopping, a spa day, but the guys will be around for company." "Company," I repeated, tasting the word. "And how is the room situation set up?" I asked. She shifted on her feet, avoiding my eyes. "We found a great deal on the hotel, so everyone is pairing up to cut costs." "Everyone is sharing rooms," I said. "Yes." She held up a hand before I could respond. "Do not get weird about this. It is all innocent. These guys are like brothers to us." I leaned back in my chair. "Brothers who will be sleeping in the same hotel rooms as you. In Las Vegas." Her tone snapped sharper. When she got that tone, it meant she was done listening. "You are being ridiculous," she said. "This is exactly why I do not tell you things sometimes." "Actually," I said, "this is exactly why you should tell me things." She crossed her arms. "I am not asking for permission. I am telling you what is happening. You can trust me, or you can act paranoid and controlling." "So you are giving me 2 choices," I said. "Blind trust or being labeled as insecure." "Pretty much," she replied. I stood up slowly. "And if I said I was not comfortable with my wife sharing a hotel room with 3 men I have never met, then I would say that is your problem to deal with," she said. "Your insecurity is not my responsibility." Her words hit me like a punch. "In other words," I said, "if I do not support this, I am insecure." "Exactly. And what if I still do not agree?" She shrugged. "Then maybe you should think about whether this marriage is working for you." The room went completely silent except for the low hum of my computer fan. "Are you threatening me?" I asked. "I am giving you a choice," she said calmly. "Accept that I have male friends and trust me, or do not. But I am going either way." I studied her. She was not bluffing. She meant every word. "When is the trip?" I asked. 3 weeks from Friday," she answered. "And you already booked everything," I said. It was not a question. "Yes," she said. Of course she had. "How long have you been planning this?" "About a month." "A month," I repeated. "And you are telling me now because—" I wanted to make sure the reservations were final first. I sat back down and turned toward my computer. "Got it. So we are good?" she asked. "Oh, we are something," I said without looking at her. She hesitated, waiting for an argument she clearly rehearsed for. When I gave her nothing, she walked away. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, then the bedroom door shutting. A moment later, the shower started upstairs. I stared at my screen, but the numbers no longer meant anything. Not once had she asked how I felt. Not once did she offer for me to meet these guys. Not once did she pretend my opinion mattered. It was not a conversation. It was an ultimatum. My phone buzzed. "By the way, the group chat is hilarious. These guys crack me up." "Group chat?" There was already a group chat. I texted back. "What is the group called?" She responded instantly. "Vegas Baby," with laughing emojis. 3 strange men. 3 days. 2 nights. Shared rooms. A chat group filled with jokes I was not part of. I leaned back in my chair and thought hard. Something about the way she presented everything felt rehearsed, polished, planned. I picked up my phone and scrolled through our texts from the past month. Normal stuff. Nothing about a trip. Nothing about new friends. Not a single hint. A whole month of planning. And tonight was the first I heard of it. Upstairs, the shower finally shut off. I heard her moving around again. She was getting ready for bed, and I was sitting in the office realizing something important. She gave me two options: accept it or lose her. But I was suddenly thinking about a third one. She was probably already in bed by the time I finally made myself go upstairs. I waited 10 minutes just to cool off and think things through. When I walked into the bedroom, the lights were off, but I could see the soft glow from her phone lighting up her side of the bed. Chelsea was lying on her side, facing away from me, fingers tapping across the screen. "Good night," I said as I passed by her on my way to the bathroom. "I am home," she mumbled, eyes glued to her phone. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, took my time changing into pajamas, anything to put a few extra minutes between us. When I came back out, she was still on her phone, still typing fast, but now with little giggles slipping out every few seconds. "What is so funny?" I asked as I slid under the covers. "Oh, just something Adam said in the chat," she said. "He is worried that Lauren is going to run wild at the blackjack tables again." "Lauren has a gambling problem?" I asked. "Not a serious one," she said. "She just loses more than she plans every time we go somewhere." I stared up at the ceiling for a moment, trying to keep my voice steady. "These new friends of yours, how long have you actually known them?" "I already told you," she said. "They are Lauren's college friends. I met them a few months ago when we all went out for Harper's birthday." "A few months," I repeated quietly. "And now you are comfortable enough to share hotel rooms with them in Las Vegas." She turned over to face me, irritation already in her expression. "Why are you acting so weird about this?" "I am not acting weird," I said. "I am asking questions." "You are interrogating me," she snapped. "I am having a conversation with my wife about her upcoming trip with 3 men I have never met," I said. She let out one of those long, dramatic sighs. "They are not 3 men. They are our friends. And Harper, Lauren, and Janice will be there too." "Right," I said. "And everyone is sharing rooms to save money. Las Vegas is expensive." "How expensive could it be?" I asked. "You booked the whole thing a month ago." "That is exactly why I booked it early," she said. "To get good deals." She rolled back toward her phone, signaling that the discussion was over. I lay there listening to the steady rhythm of her typing. Every few seconds her phone buzzed with a new message. Then more typing. Then more buzzing. It went on for 15 minutes before she finally set the phone down. "Good night," she said. "Night." I waited, listening to her breathing. Chelsea falls asleep fast, always has. 8 minutes later, her breath settled into that slow, relaxed rhythm she gets when she is out cold. I waited 5 more minutes just to be safe. Then I reached over and gently lifted her phone off the nightstand. She never changed her passcode. It was still her birth month and year. The screen lit up, and her text threads came into view. Right at the top was the group chat. "Vegas baby." 6 names. Chelsea, Lauren, Harper, Janice, Ryan, Adam, and Evan. I opened it. Within seconds, my heart rate spiked. This conversation was not about gambling, spas, or harmless fun. A message from Ryan, sent 10 minutes earlier. "Cannot wait to see you in that red dress again. Las Vegas will not know what hit it." Chelsea's reply, sent 5 minutes ago. "Only if you are lucky, winking face." Then Adam chimed in. "Room assignments confirmed. I am with Harper, and you are with Ryan." Lauren added, "Yep, Janice and I are paired. Evan gets his own room since he wakes up at the sound of oxygen." Chelsea responded, "Perfect. I cannot wait to get away from all the stress here." Evan, "Stress." Chelsea, "My husband being controlling about the trip. But whatever. I am going anyway." Harper, "Good for you. You deserve fun." Ryan, "He does not know what he has. His loss is my gain." Chelsea, "Let us change the subject before I get too annoyed." Adam, "Fair enough. But this weekend is going to be incredible, just like Harper's birthday." Chelsea, "That was definitely a night to remember." Ryan, "Round 2 in Las Vegas." I scrolled up. Messages from 2 weeks earlier. Inside jokes I had never heard. Plans I did not know existed. Photos from Harper's birthday. Pictures she never showed me. In one picture, Chelsea was sitting on Ryan's lap, both laughing, his hand resting on her thigh like it had been there a while. And the more I scrolled, the more flirty, suggestive, and familiar everything became. This was not friends. This was not innocent fun. This was something entirely different. I took screenshots of everything. Every flirty line. Every photo. Every wink. Every joke. Every message that showed exactly what this trip was intended to be. 23 screenshots. My hands were trembling by the time I set her phone back exactly where it had been. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying our earlier conversation. How she had made me feel like the unreasonable one. How she acted like this trip was no big deal. How she framed my concerns as insecurity. 3 weeks from now, she was planning to sleep in a hotel room with Ryan. 3 weeks from now, she was planning to cheat, and she had the nerve to give me an ultimatum about it. I thought about Ryan's message. His loss is my gain. Not yet, pal. Not yet. Wednesday morning, I woke up before the alarm. Chelsea was still asleep beside me, her phone buzzing with new messages from the same group chat. Probably more harmless jokes. I got dressed, went downstairs, and started a pot of coffee. While it brewed, I organized every single screenshot in a folder on my phone. 23 images. More than enough proof of what this girl's weekend really was. The next morning, I sat alone at the kitchen table with a fresh cup of coffee, trying to figure out my next move. I could confront Chelsea outright, but I already knew how that would go. She would twist it around, say I misunderstood, or accuse me of snooping. She had made it painfully clear that my opinion no longer mattered in this situation. I could wait for her to leave for work, pack a bag, move out, and file for divorce before dinner. It would be clean, quick, and save me a lot of yelling. But something kept pulling my mind back to that one message from Ryan. His loss is my gain. Those words stuck under my skin like a splinter. They told me something I had not considered. They were already talking as if Chelsea and I were finished. As if the breakup was part of the plan. And that made me think of her father. Lawrence Murphy is an old-school kind of man, 68 years old, retired after 35 years working construction, and married to the same woman for 42 years. He is steady, firm, and big on loyalty. He never liked excuses, and he hates dishonesty. I have seen him rip apart co-workers who tried to cheat him on a job. It was like watching a storm roll through. So if anyone needed to see the truth, it was him. I opened my phone and sent him a message. Morning, Lawrence. Are you free for coffee this afternoon? I could use some advice. His reply came less than 5 minutes later. Everything all right. Just need your opinion on something. Nothing urgent. How about Henson's Diner at 2 o'clock? Perfect. See you then. Upstairs, I heard Chelsea getting ready for work. I finished my coffee, grabbed my laptop bag, and headed up. She was in the bathroom, putting on makeup. Morning, she said, barely glancing at me. Morning. Sleep all right? Like a baby, she said with a small smile. Then she gave me a look in the mirror. You are not still acting strange about the trip, are you? Nope, I said. You made your stance pretty clear. Good, she said. I was worried you were going to make this difficult. I almost laughed out loud. I gave her the calmest smile I could manage. Would not dream of it. She came over, kissed me goodbye like it was any other day, tossed out the usual love you, and walked out the door, completely unaware that I knew everything. At the office, I tried to focus on client work, but my mind kept circling back to the diner meeting. Lawrence is not a complicated man. He believes in loyalty, honesty, and being straight with people. His daughter was about to break all 3 rules. At 1:45, I walked into Henson's Diner. He was already sitting in the corner booth with a black coffee, back straight, hat on the table. When I walked over, he stood and shook my hand. Good to see you, son. You look tired. It has been a long week, I said. We ordered more coffee and talked about harmless things for a few minutes. Work, the weather, the deck he was building for his neighbor. But I could tell he was waiting for me to get to the point. Finally, he leaned back. All right, he said. What is going on? I pulled out my phone. Lawrence, I need to show you something, I said. I want you to know I have not made any final decisions. I respect you, and I wanted your take on this. His expression tightened. Go ahead. I opened the first screenshot and slid the phone across the table. Chelsea told me she was going on a girls' weekend to Las Vegas. She said it would be her, Lauren, Harper, and Janice. He nodded. She mentioned something about that. Well, I said, that is not the whole story. I watched his face as he scrolled. With each new screenshot, his jaw tightened more. When he reached the photo of Chelsea sitting on Ryan's lap, his hands curled around the phone like he wanted to crush it. How many of these are there? He asked quietly. 23, I said. He went through every single one. Ryan's messages about the red dress, Adam's note about room assignments, Chelsea's complaint about her controlling husband, all of it. When he finished, he set the phone down with slow, deliberate care, stared out the diner window, and said nothing for nearly a full minute. "She does not know you saw this?" he asked finally. "No. I took the screenshots while she was asleep." "And what did she tell you about the trip?" I repeated the entire conversation from the night before. Her ultimatum, her calling me insecure, her saying maybe the marriage was not working if I did not trust her. Lawrence listened with the concentration of a man reviewing blueprints. When I finished, he exhaled through his nose. 42 years, he said. I have been married to her mother for 42 years. Do you know how many times we have taken separate vacations? No, sir. 0. He stared me dead in the eyes. Do you know how many times either of us has shared a hotel room with someone who was not our spouse? I am guessing 0. Correct. He leaned forward. And do you know what I would have done if her mother had ever given me an ultimatum like the one she gave you? What? I asked. I would have helped her pack. The weight of that sentence settled over both of us. I swallowed. Lawrence, I said quietly, I need to ask you something. And I need the truth. If I handle this the way it needs to be handled, are you going to stand with your daughter? Or are you going to stand with what is right? He did not even blink. Son, he said, I did not raise my daughter to be a cheater or a liar. Lawrence set his coffee cup down and took a slow breath. If this is who my daughter has chosen to become, he said quietly, then she is going to have to live with the consequences. You have my support, especially if this means the marriage is ending. You are a good man, and you deserve a wife who respects you. His words hit harder than I expected. Then I need a favor, I said, leaning closer. What do you need from me? He asked. When I confront Chelsea, I do not want to be alone. She has a way of twisting everything until she looks like the victim and I look like the unreasonable husband. But if you are there, she will not be able to pull that off. You want me present when you show her the screenshots? More than that, I said. I want you to be the one to tell her the marriage is done. She might dismiss my words, but she will not ignore yours. Lawrence thought about it for a few seconds, then nodded. When? He asked. Tomorrow night. She usually walks in a little after 6. Can you get to the house by 5:30? I will be there early. I hesitated. There is one more thing. He looked at me patiently. Once everything is out in the open, she cannot stay in the house. I cannot have her living there after this. She can stay with us for a short time, he said, but she will follow our rules. No phone calls to these men. No coordinating any trips. And she will start searching for her own place immediately. A weight I had been carrying for 24 hours seemed to fall off my chest. Thank you, Lawrence. Do not thank me yet, he said. She will put up a serious fight. She will cry. She will beg. She will blame you for everything. Are you ready for that? I have been ready since the moment I saw those messages. Lawrence took a long sip of his coffee and leaned back in the booth. There is something you should know, he said. When Chelsea was 16, she snuck out of the house to meet some boy. When her mother and I confronted her, she did not apologize. She yelled at us for not trusting her, claimed she was being treated like a child, and that all her friends had parents who understood them better. What did you do? I asked. We grounded her for 2 months, he said. No phone, no friends, no activities. Just school and home. She was furious, but she never snuck out again. He shook his head slowly. And now she is 32, and she is still using the same tactics, getting defensive instead of admitting wrongdoing. We sat in silence for a moment until he reached across the table and put a hand on my shoulder. Marriage means teamwork, he said. It means talking things out and respecting each other even when it is uncomfortable. What she is doing is not partnership. It is selfishness. I know, I said quietly. You deserve a wife who stands beside you. My wife and I have had our share of disagreements in 42 years, but never once has either of us used divorce as leverage. Never once has there been betrayal. I hear you, I said. He nodded. Tomorrow at 5:30. I will be at your house. That night, Chelsea walked through the door humming like she had won the lottery. She went straight to the kitchen, smiling down at her phone every couple of minutes. Good day, I asked, standing in the doorway. Amazing, she said. Lauren found this incredible spa deal for Vegas. We are doing couples massages. I raised an eyebrow. Couples massages? You know what I mean, she said quickly. Massage packages for friends. Right. Friends. Friends who apparently shared hotel rooms. During dinner, she rambled about office gossip, Harper's latest boyfriend drama, and some argument at Lauren's job. She talked like everything was normal, like she had not been flirting with another man the night before. Halfway through her meal, she said, "Oh, I almost forgot. I might be home a little late tomorrow. Lauren wants to go look at outfits for the trip." "What time?" I asked. "Probably 6:30 or 7. Perfect. Lawrence and I would have time to prepare everything." After dinner, she went upstairs to take a long bath. I heard her talking softly, laughing under her breath, likely updating the group chat about shopping plans. I used the time to get everything in order. I checked the screenshot folder again. I gathered our marriage documents, bank statements, and the house paperwork. I wrote out a full timeline so she could not twist the facts. Around 10 o'clock, she came back downstairs wearing her pajamas and curled up next to me on the couch. She snuggled in close, acting affectionate, like the woman I thought she was. "Are we all right?" she asked during a commercial break. "What do you mean?" I said. "The Vegas thing. I do not want this to ruin our week." I looked down at her. She actually seemed sincere, almost like she truly believed her own lies. "We are fine," I said. "Do not worry." She relaxed immediately. "Good," she said softly. "I was worried you would stay angry about it." She kissed my cheek. "I love you." "Love you too," I said. And the heartbreaking part was, I still did care about her. Or at least the version of her I thought I married. But the woman who had been planning a Vegas hookup behind my back, I did not know her at all. Thursday felt endless. At work, I kept glancing at the clock every few minutes. All I could think about was what would happen that evening. The whole day at work, every time my phone buzzed, I felt a jolt in my chest, half expecting it to be Mr. Newton backing out, or Chelsea somehow discovering everything before it happened. But nothing came. The day rolled on like any other. At 5:15 that evening, I was sitting in the living room when I heard a firm knock on the front door. I opened it to find her father standing there in his best button-up shirt and pressed slacks, dressed like it was Easter Sunday. "You ready for this, son?" he asked. "As ready as a man can be." He stepped inside and closed the door behind him. "Remember," he said quietly, "I will be doing most of the talking. She will try to twist things when it is just the two of you. But she has never tried that nonsense with me." Right at 6:05, her car pulled into the driveway. Lawrence breathed out slowly. "Here we go." The front door opened, and Chelsea called out, cheerful as ever, "Honey, I am home." She stepped into the living room with 3 shopping bags hanging from her hands, a big smile on her face, until she noticed her father sitting on the couch with me. "Dad, what are you doing here?" she asked, confused. "Is everything all right?" "Sit down, sweetheart," he said, nodding toward the armchair across from him. "We need to have a conversation." She hesitated. "You are scaring me. Did something happen? Is Mom okay?" "Your mother is fine," he said. "This is about you." She sat on the edge of the chair, nervous, her eyes jumping between us. "About me? What about me?" I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. "Why do you not tell your dad about your trip to Las Vegas?" I asked. She swallowed. "My girls' weekend? I already told both of you. It is just me, Lauren, Harper, and Janice." I stared right at her. "Did you mention River?" She froze. "Who?" she asked quietly. "River, Isaac, Eli, the 3 men you are going with." She opened her mouth to speak, but Lawrence lifted a hand sharply. "Stop," he said. "Do not talk. Not yet." He turned to me. "Show me again." I handed him my phone with the first screenshot pulled up. Lawrence studied it, then turned the screen toward his daughter and read it aloud. "Cannot wait to see you in that red dress again. Las Vegas will not know what hit it." "That is from River." Her face went white. Lawrence swiped to the next one. "Only if you are lucky." With a winking face. "That is your reply." "Dad, it is not what it looks like," she started. Lawrence's voice cracked like a whip. "Sit down." She fell back into the chair. He kept going through the messages, the room assignments, the flirty comments, her venting about her controlling husband, the photo of her sitting on River's lap during Harper's birthday night. With every screenshot, her shoulders folded in a little more. By the time he reached the last one, she was crying softly into her hands. "It is not what you think," she said between breaths. "River is just flirty with everyone. It does not mean anything." Lawrence set the phone on the coffee table like it was a loaded weapon. "It does not mean anything," he repeated slowly. "So you are planning to share a hotel room with a man you flirt with, and that means nothing?" "We are not sharing a room," she argued. "Not like that." I finally spoke. "Tell him the room assignments." She looked like she wanted to sink through the floor. It was just the cheapest option, she said. We got a deal on the rooms. It does not imply anything. So let me understand, Lawrence said, voice calm but cold. You will be staying in the same room with this River fellow for 2 nights, but absolutely nothing inappropriate is going to happen? Yes, exactly. And these messages? Compliments, flirty emojis, you saying you cannot wait to get away from stress at home. He is just a charming guy, she whispered. It was harmless flirting. Harmless flirting, Lawrence repeated, tasting the phrase. With a man you are planning to be alone with in Las Vegas. Dad, please. You are blowing this out of proportion. Am I? He said sharply. Because it looks to me like my daughter planned to cheat on her husband and then threatened him with the end of the marriage when he objected. She turned toward me, tears streaming. You went through my phone. You violated my privacy. You gave me an ultimatum, I said calmly. Accept your Las Vegas adventure with these men or lose you. So I did what any man would do. I gathered the truth before I made my decision. It was not an affair, she said desperately. Lawrence stood up, the air in the room tightening around him. Then cancel the trip. She blinked. What? If this is all innocent, he said, leaning forward. If these men are truly just friends, and if there is no disrespect intended toward your marriage, cancel the trip. Choose your husband over your harmless flirting. Her face crumpled. She had no answer. She stared at her dad like he had spoken another language. I cannot cancel, she whispered. Everyone already made plans. Lauren already booked everything. Lawrence's voice dropped to a low, dangerous tone. So all these other people count on you. But your husband does not? That is not what I meant, she said quickly. Then what did you mean? He asked. She looked around the room like she was hoping a window would magically open and let her escape. This is insane, she snapped. You two are acting completely irrational. It is just a trip with friends. Friends who talk about round 2 in Las Vegas, I said quietly. What was round 1? Harper's birthday party? She wiped her cheeks with trembling fingers. You do not understand. You have never understood. I need a social life. I need friends. You work constantly, and when you are home you just want to relax. These people make me feel alive. Lawrence lowered himself back into the chair, disappointment written all over his face. Sweetheart, having friends is fine, but planning a betrayal is not. I am not betraying anyone, she insisted. Then look me in the eyes, he said firmly, and tell me nothing physical ever happened with that man. She looked him dead in the face for 2 seconds. Then her eyes darted to the floor. That was all anyone needed to see. Lawrence turned to me. Son, do you have a place where she can start packing? She shot up out of the chair. Dad, you cannot be serious. I am more serious than I have been in years, he said. You made your decision the moment you booked that room. You picked River over your husband. You chose lies over honesty. You put your selfish wants over your marriage. She broke down completely. Please, Dad. I will cancel the trip. I will block all of them. I will do anything. It is not about what you do after the fact, he said. It is about what you already did. She turned to me then, sobbing. Honey, please. I love you. I made a stupid mistake, but nothing happened. Not really. We can fix this. I looked at her for several long seconds. My wife, the woman who had looked me dead in the face the night before and said I had 2 choices, accept her trip or lose her. Yesterday, I said quietly, you gave me an ultimatum. You told me to accept your Las Vegas plan or lose you. I was angry, she whispered. I did not mean it. You meant every word. And I have decided to take option 3. She blinked. Option 3? What is that supposed to mean? It means, I said, standing, that you will have your bags packed by Sunday, because that is when you are moving out. The next 3 days. The next few days felt like a storm trapped in a house. Friday morning. She was apologetic. She showed me her phone as she left the group chat, canceled the trip, promised to cut ties with River and the others. Friday afternoon. She was furious. Now it was somehow my fault, because I looked through her phone and because I was too controlling. Friday night. She was desperate. Counseling. New job. Social media deleted forever. She would do anything. Saturday morning. She was defiant again. She claimed she had done nothing wrong. Sharing a hotel room did not mean anything. Saturday afternoon. Back to crying. She said she loved me and made a mistake. But Lawrence did not budge. Every time she called him, he told her the same thing. You made your choice. Now deal with the consequences. and I did not budge either. Every time I looked at her, all I could hear was that cold ultimatum. Accept it or lose me. The level of arrogance it took to threaten our marriage to force me to accept her cheating plans still made my stomach flip. Sunday morning. Sunday morning came. She was sitting at the kitchen table in her pajamas when I walked downstairs. 2 suitcases sat by the front door. She did not look at me when she spoke. So this is really happening? This is really happening, I said. 4 years of marriage, she whispered. And you are throwing it away over a trip I never even took. I poured coffee, sat across from her. I am not throwing anything away, I said. You threw it away when you made plans to cheat, and then threatened me when I objected. I was not going to cheat. You were going to share a room with River for 2 nights. That does not mean. Stop. I set my mug down firmly. We both know exactly what was going to happen. The question is whether you will tell the truth for once. She said nothing for a long time. Then she spoke in the smallest voice I had ever heard from her. I did not want it to get this far. It was the closest thing to an admission I was ever going to get. How long? I asked. She stared at her hands. How long what? How long have you been talking to River? Since Harper's birthday. About 2 months. And when did it get physical? It did not, she said. Do not lie to me. Not now. She sucked in a shaky breath. Last weekend, she whispered, when I said I was out shopping with Lauren. Her confession hit me like I had taken a hard swing to the ribs, but I kept my face steady. So the Las Vegas weekend was not going to be the beginning, I said quietly. It was just going to be the first time you two had several nights together. She swallowed. Yes. I nodded once. Well, thank you for finally telling the truth. She lifted her eyes toward me, her face blotchy from crying. Does it even matter now? Does knowing any of this change anything? It confirms, I said, that I am making the right choice. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed. I am sorry, she whispered. I know that does not undo anything. I got swept up. River made me feel wanted again. He made me feel like I was 25. Like I was interesting. And I made you feel like you were 32 and married, I said. Which you are. That is not what I meant. Yes, it is. And here is the thing. I am your husband, not a man trying to win you over. I am supposed to make you feel secure and valued, not give you butterflies every time I walk into the room. She wiped her nose with a tissue. I miss the excitement of new relationships. The spark. The build-up. You miss the honeymoon phase, I said. That is fair. So get divorced and date whoever you want. But do not cheat on your husband and expect him to smile and accept it. Sunday, moving day. Lawrence showed up around 11 in the morning to help. He carried her suitcases out to her car with no ceremony, gave her a short hug, and told her to call her mother. When she finally pulled out of the driveway, the house felt unbelievably quiet. Lawrence and I sat on the front porch with 2 cold beers. The sun was warm, but the air between us felt heavy. You did the right thing, he said. Does not feel good. Doing what is right almost never feels good, he replied. Feeling good and doing good are usually 2 different roads. We sat there in silence for several minutes, listening to the neighborhood kids yelling and laughing on their scooters. Lawrence, I said finally. Yeah. Do you think she would have actually gone through with the trip? I mean really gone through with it? He stared off toward the street before answering. Son, she already went through with it, he said quietly. The trip would have just been the formal confirmation. 6 months later. Half a year passed. One afternoon, I bumped into Lauren at the grocery store. She looked uncomfortable at first, but she walked over anyway. How are you doing? She asked. Good, I said. Honestly, really good. We exchanged some small talk about work and the weather before I asked the question I had been carrying around for months. Did she ever end up going to Las Vegas? Lauren's expression shifted awkwardly. Yeah, she said. She did. But it was just her and River. The whole group thing fell apart after everything that happened. And how did that adventure work out for her? Lauren winced. Not great. She thought it was going to turn into something serious. But he was only interested in a vacation fling. She went out there hoping for romance, and came back heartbroken. I am sorry to hear that, I said. Are you? She asked. I thought for a moment. Yeah, I said honestly. I do not want her to be miserable. I just could not stay married to someone who would put me in that situation. Lauren nodded slowly. For what it is worth, I think she understands now how badly she messed things up. I hope she learned something, I said. She did, Lauren said. She learned that some mistakes cannot be undone. The text message. That evening, I was grilling on the back patio when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I opened it. Lauren told me she saw you today. I want you to know I realize I destroyed the best thing in my life. I do not expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know I understand what I lost. I hope you are happy. I read it twice. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger. Not out of spite. I deleted it because the truth was simple. I am happy. Not because she is hurting, but because I finally respected myself enough to walk away from someone who did not respect our marriage. Sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is refuse to tolerate something unforgivable, especially when it comes from the person he loved the most. Bye.